Yo, hey, what's up? My name is Spike, and today I'm reviewing Star Wars The Force Unleashed, a long-anticipated game from LucasArts, and if rumors to be believed, their last internally developed game. And for lucky, those rumors are true. Star Wars FU had so much hype behind it that we were all expecting one of the best games of the year. Well, we were dead wrong. The Force Unleashed is nothing more than a cookie-cutter action game with dumbed-down swords play and some fancy physics. When you first play it, it's awesome. The first 3 or 4 levels are fantastic with plenty of things to try. A nice steady stream of new force powers and, although a bit easy, gives you a fun time. Once you reach around the middle of the game or so, the experience goes downhill. And I mean way downhill. Instead of a game that makes you feel like a god, it turns into a frustrating romp through waves of enemies that make you think, is LucasArts trying to make me hate them? You suddenly start running into enemies that you can no longer pick up with the Force, and eventually enemies that are immune to your powers altogether. Now this makes sense from a developer standpoint, but what's the point of giving me new and exciting Force powers when you're not going to let me use them? Now I can understand not being able to use Force Grip on mini-bosses, that would be a little cheap, but could they have at least made them a tad harder? Most of the mini-bosses, like Rancors, ATSTs, and Junk Monsters, can be easily dispatched by running around them and using Force Lightning over and over again, until you get one of the god-awful quick-time events that never make you feel like you're doing the finishing move, nor do they challenge you in any way. Graphically, this game is gorgeous, with painfully detailed environments that set the mood for each level very well. Even up close, the graphics are right up there with the best-looking games currently out. This might explain the load times, too. Now, load times in between levels are to be expected, and even when they're long, I can deal with them. But in between menus? Come on! It's a pain every time you go in and out of the menus brought up by the pause button, because you spend more time waiting for them to load than you do actually navigating them. This is not helped by the fact that the menus are something you have to go in a lot, as you need to go and level up your character and choose his new abilities every single time you level up. And leveling up happens often. Nevertheless, this game's degree of prettiness greatly outweighs the long load times. And the graphics are complemented by the fantastic story. The cutscenes and voice acting outdo anything seen in the most recent trilogy of Star Wars movies. With several twists in the story that you may or may not see coming, it's still a treat for Star Wars lovers. Star Wars The Force Unleashed is a disappointment. Plain and simple. However, that does not mean it's not worth checking out. By no means should you waste $60 on it, but it does deserve a rent. Star Wars fans will love the story and a huge amount of fan service in it. If you're not really into Star Wars, it's still worth checking out. Just don't get your hopes up for a jaw-dropping experience or something that will change your mind about Star Wars. Star Wars The Force Unleashed gets an average C+. A game that does everything right, except the gameplay.
Sorry, Masters. I've failed you.